Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. Today is Thursday, 30th of Shaban 1441 AH and 23rd April 2020. The topic for today is Introduction to Leukemia. My name is Dr. Nadeem Nusrat. I am an Associate Professor of Hematology, both Lab and Clinical Hematology in the Department of Pathology, Fazaiya Rutfa Medical College, Karachi, Pakistan. Now let us start with our topic. This lecture will be in two parts, and at the end of the lecture you will get a concept of two things. Number one, basic of stem cells and their potential, and number two, leukemia. As far as the basic of stem cells and their potentials are concerned, we will discuss briefly the following things: stem cells, their potential and clones of stem cells, differentiation, proliferation and maturation of stem cells into mature blood cells. For the second part, which is the main part, leukemia, we will be seeing the definition and types of leukemias, basic genetic defects leading to leukemia, classification of leukemias, both acute and chronic leukemias, clinical course of the disease, diagnosis of the disease both through clinical findings and through laboratory investigations. Let us briefly discuss cell divisions. There are two types of cell divisions, meiosis and mitosis. Meiosis is very important for the reproduction of an individual. In this photograph on the left side, you see a cell which has got complete set of chromosomes. This is called a mother cell. This mother cell undergoes meiotic division and produces four daughter cells which have the half the number of chromosomes. The mother cell has got diploid number of chromosomes, and the daughter cells, they have the haploid number of chromosomes. This photograph shows fertilization. Fertilization is with egg from the female and sperm from the male. The egg and the sperm, they are both haploid, and when they fertilize, they form a zygote which is diploid. This zygote is a 2T potential stem cell, that is, it has the capability to produce all the cells and tissues of the organ, and this is a cell from which the life of an individual will begin. Now let us briefly discuss mitosis. You all know what mitosis is. The cell division in which the number of chromosomes, they are not decreased but remain the same as of the mother cell, is called mitosis. It is a very important process, a very important cell division which occurs in the body throughout our life. This mitosis has got certain phases. S phase at the bottom, or called synthetic phase, then on the left G2 or gap phase, then the mitotic phase in which the cell divides, and G1 resting or gap phase. Now these are different stages of mitotic stage of the cycle. You people already know, and the daughter cells which are formed contains the same number of chromosomes as of the mother cell. For example, if the mother cell had 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs, all the daughter cells will have 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. In this case, the mother cell will divide into two cells only, that is, it will divide into two daughter cells, whereas in meiosis the mother cell divided into four daughter cells. Now this is a slide which shows a blood vessel and the constituents of blood vessel. As you can see, the blood vessel, it contains a pale liquid, off-white liquid, which is called plasma, and in this plasma all the blood cells, they float. These tubes, these blood vessels, which are arteries or veins, they transport the blood throughout the body. In the plasma are floating the blood cells. The blood cells, they are red blood cells which are shown by red color. The white blood cells, they are of many types: granulocytes and agranulocytes. The granulocytes, they contain granules in the cytoplasm. The A granulocytes, they don't contain any granule in the cytoplasm. The granulocytes, they are neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils. The A granulocytes, they are monocytes and lymphocytes. Now the spider-like things which you are seeing in this slide, they are called platelets. They are not cell, but they are fragment of a large cell which is called megakaryocyte and which is present in the bone marrow. When this large cell, it matures, it breaks by itself into fragments which are called platelets. As the platelets are very small, they escape into the peripheral circulation and they play a very important part in hemostasis in preventing blood leakage from the blood vessels. This is a slide of a human being and you can see a number of tubes running throughout the body, right from the head up till the toe. They are red in color and they are blue in color. The red in color are the arteries and the blue in color, they are the veins, and in the chest, in the center, you can see a pumping station which is called heart. Now this is a slide of white blood cells. The white blood cells, they are basically of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. The granulocytes, they have different type of granules in their cytoplasm, while the agranulocytes, they don't have any granules in their cytoplasm, or if there are any, they are very few. The granulocytes, there are three types, neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. The agranulocytes, they are monocytes and lymphocytes. Now this is a slide of red blood cells in the circulation. You can see they are of red color, they are full of hemoglobin. As far as their shape is concerned, they are round shape, and you can see that the margins or edges, they are thicker than the center. So they have a biconcave shape. In this slide, you will see the hierarchy of stem cells. At the top is totipotent stem cell. This totipotent stem cell has the capability or ability to form any type of stem cell which can give rise to any tissue of the body. So it is totipotent cell. It may give rise to stem cells which may make muscles, nerves, bone and other tissues. As far as the hematopoietic system is concerned, this totipotent cell then differentiates into a pluripotent cell, and the pluripotent cell then differentiates specifically into the hematopoietic stem cell or HSC. This hematopoietic stem cell will give rise to all the blood cells which are circulating in the body. These blood cells, they are basically formed in the bone marrow, which we will see in the next slide. The blood cells, they are red blood cells and they are white blood cells. As told to you previously, the white blood cells, they are of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. The granulocytes are the cells which have granules in their cytoplasm. The agranulocytes, they don't possess any granules in their cytoplasm. The hematopoietic stem cell is a multipotent stem cell. This stem cell gives rise to myeloid stem cell and a lymphoid stem cell. The myeloid stem cell, also called common myeloid progenitor, gives rise to the cells of the body which are the red blood cells or the erythrocytes and the white blood cells. The white blood cells may be granulocytes or agranulocytes. In addition, it gives rise to a large cell which is called megakaryocyte. Mega means large, karyo means body, cyte means cell. A cell with a large body which only lives in bone marrow. It matures in the bone marrow and then it fragments or breaks into small pieces which are called platelets. These platelets, they are so small, they sneak into the peripheral circulation and they perform their function. These platelets, the other name is thrombocytes. As far as the lymphoid stem cell is concerned, the common lymphoid progenitor stem cell gives rise to two types of cells. Natural killer cell, which is also called large granular lymphocyte, and the small lymphocytes. The small lymphocytes, there are two types, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. B lymphocytes are also the antibody producing cells. These B lymphocytes then matures into plasma cell, which make a lot of antibodies against the foreign antigens and infections. This is the slide which shows the step in development of the blood cells. Basically, we have the myeloid progenitor stem cell and the lymphoid progenitor stem cell. Let us discuss the myeloid progenitor stem cell. The myeloid progenitor stem cell, it gives rise to red blood cells, the white blood cells, and as you know, the white blood cells, they are granulocytes and agranulocytes, and it also assists in the formation of megakaryocyte and ultimately which develop into platelets. Let us see the development of the red blood cells. The red blood cell, in order to mature to a mature RBC for the peripheral circulation, passes through different stages of development. The first stage is pronormoblast, then second basophilic normoblast, then polychromatic normoblast, then orthochromatic normoblast, and then into ultimately a mature red blood cell. The megakaryocyte is a large cell which is present inside the bone marrow. It increases size, it matures, and by endoduplication of its DNA, it has a big nucleus. When it matures, it breaks into small fragments. These small fragments, they are called platelets. They escape in the blood and perform their function there. The other cells are monocytes. The myeloid stem cell may differentiate into an immature monocyte, which ultimately develops into a mature monocyte. As long as the monocyte is in the peripheral circulation, it is called a monocyte. When it leaves the peripheral circulation and enters the tissue, it is called a macrophage. Now, coming to the granulocytes. The granulocytes, whether they are neutrophil, eosinophil or basophil, they pass through some stages of development. The first stage in the development is a myeloblast, which develops into a promyelocyte, promyelocyte then into myelocyte, myelocyte then into metamyelocyte, then band form, and then a mature cell is formed. It may be a neutrophil, eosinophil or basophil depending upon the series. On the right corner are the lymphoid stem cell, and they develop into lymphocytes. Lymphocytes, as already told, there are different types. This is the skeleton of a human body. You can see all the bones right from the skull up till the toe. You can also appreciate the rib cage and the long bones, especially of the long bones of the upper limbs and the lower limb. You can also see clavicle and the hip bone, which is also called pelvis, and in between the rib cage and the hip bone they are vertebra. Bone marrow is a gelatinous substance which is the factory for the formation of the blood cells, and it is present in the hollow or the medullary cavity of these bones, of the ribs, of the clavicle, of the vertebrae, of the pelvis or hip bone, and the long bone of the upper limb, that is humerus, and the long bone of the lower limb, which is called femur. All these bones, they have a hollow inside which is called medullary cavity, and this medullary cavity is filled with a gelatinous material. This gelatinous material is the factory for the formation of all type of blood cells. This is the cross section of a long bone of the lower limb. Most probably it is femur. You can well appreciate that in the center is a cavity, and this cavity is filled with bone marrow, which is very active. That is why it is red in color. It is very active in forming all the blood cells of the body: white blood cells, megakaryocytes, red blood cells, and lymphocytes. This is a picture of bone marrow which is seen under high power under the microscope. Here we can see all the blood cells in different stages of development. On the left side, upper left side, is a large cell which is a megakaryocyte. You can also see or appreciate the stages of development of the red blood cells and other white cells also. Let us discuss what are clones. As I mentioned you earlier, these are hematopoietic stem cells. Many clones of hematopoietic stem cells are present. That is, many type of hematopoietic stem cells are present, but they all form the same type of blood cell. For example, the hematopoietic stem cell forming the red blood cells. They are of different types, but ultimately they form the same type of red blood cell which is present in the circulation. Clones are different stem cells but with the same function. Blood cells present in body are derived from different clone of hematopoietic stem cell. For example, the neutrophils present in the circulation, they look the same, they have the same function, but they are derived from different stem cells. The same is the case with red blood cells. You can see the red blood cell, the same shape, the same function, but the red blood cells, they are derived from different hematopoietic stem cells. These are the clones. White blood cells, red blood cells and platelets are produced by many clones, but the cells ultimately which are produced, they have the same function as the other cells. So blood cells running in our body are derived from multiple clones. Leukemia, now the topic of discussion. Leukemia is an abnormality, and when this abnormality occurs in one of these clones, the abnormality doesn't occur in all the clones of the hematopoietic stem cell, but it occurs in one of the clones of hematopoietic stem cell colony. Abnormality occurs in chromosomes or genes involved in cell production. That is, the abnormality is a genetic abnormality. The abnormalities can be a chromosomal translocation or a mutation. What do we mean by chromosomal translocation? For example, there are two chromosomes. These two chromosomes, they break at some point, and now they have two free fragments. One is the body of the chromosome and the other is the broken fragment. Broken fragment from one of the chromosome, it goes and it combines at the broken site of the body of the other chromosome, and the broken fragment of the other chromosome, it combines or unites with the broken part of the body of the other chromosome. This is called translocation. Translocation can be balanced translocation, or translocation can be a unbalanced translocation. Mutations, when the genes become abnormal, they are called mutations. That is, the function of the gene changes due to the function of the structure of the gene. All the leukemias which develop, all the malignancies in the body which, all the leukemias in the body, all the malignancies in the body which occur, they are clonal disorder. That is, only one clone becomes abnormal. Differentiation, proliferation and maturation. This is a very, very important process, and we should have a brief but clear concept about these processes. Differentiation. Pluripotent hematopoietic stem cell, or HSC, because this hematopoietic stem cell has the ability to differentiate into 2 or 3 type of hematopoietic stem cell, that is the stem cell producing the myeloid cell and the stem cell producing the lymphoid cell. The hematopoietic stem cell may differentiate into different types of progenitor cells. Each progenitor hematopoietic stem cell is responsible for producing a particular cell type. For example, myeloid progenitor cell may differentiate into granulocytes, that is the cell, white blood cell, which have granules in the cytoplasm. They are the neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. They differentiate into monocytes. They differentiate into erythroid cells, which are also called red blood cell, megakaryocytes, and the megakaryocyte, as I told you, then breaks into fragments, and the fragments are called platelets, which escape through the pores of the bone marrow into the peripheral circulation and are responsible for maintaining the integrity of the vessel wall. That is, they are the particles which prevent the blood oozing from the blood vessel into the tissues. Or in other words, they are very helpful in the stoppage of bleeding. Lymphoid progenitor hematopoietic cell differentiates into lymphoid producing cell, B and T cell, which we have already discussed. Again, the same photomicrograph, we have got myeloid progenitor stem cell and lymphoid progenitor stem cell, and as I have told you, they develop into different cells. So they are the progenitor cells and they differentiate a pluripotent cell has differentiated into myeloid stem cell and lymphoid stem cell, and the myeloid and the lymphoid stem cell, then they mature into specific lines, different lines, depending upon the need of the body. Let us discuss proliferation and maturation again. We have already discussed in the previous slide, but as the terms, they are very important and it will give a better understanding in the development of leukemia. So let us discuss again proliferation and maturation. Proliferation is a process by which a single cell multiplies and makes a lot of cells. Maturation, that single cell which is immature develops and matures into a mature cell. Proliferation, for example, let us take the myeloid progenitor cell, which we cannot recognize morphologically in the bone marrow, but it is present. When it has to develop, for example, into a neutrophil, it will multiply itself. So that stem cell will, instead of one, it will have a number of copies, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20. These copies, each copy will develop into a myeloblast. Myeloblast is a cell which is present in the bone marrow, which is the morphologically recognizable cell. It is the first morphologically recognizable cell in the bone marrow. This myeloblast will undergo multiplication again. So one myeloblast will form many myeloblasts. Each myeloblast, then it will develop into a promyelocyte. The promyelocyte will also multiply, and one promyelocyte will produce many promyelocytes. This promyelocyte, each promyelocyte which has been produced, then develops into a myelocyte. This myelocyte is also called the functional stem cell. This myelocyte, one myelocyte will multiply into a number of myelocytes. Now just imagine how a single myeloblast has produced so many myelocytes. These myelocytes, then they will develop into metamyelocyte. At this time, multiplication will stop and each metamyelocyte will develop into a single neutrophil. The same thing is happening with the red blood cells, the same thing is happening with the eosinophils, and the same thing is happening with the basophil. So this is proliferation. Maturation, the cell from the immature stage, for example from the myeloblast to the neutrophil, it passes through a number of steps which we have already discussed, and this is called maturation or development process. In leukemia, the problem can occur anywhere, especially in the pathway of the proliferation or in the maturation or the development of the blood cells. So these two terms are very important to discuss and understand before proceeding to the topic of leukemia. And as we have already discussed clones, so we should have also clear concept of the clones. Leukemia. A genetic lesion or abnormality occurs in a single clone of hematopoietic stem cell. This abnormality may be a translocation, balanced or unbalanced, or a mutation. Due to the abnormality of the hematopoietic stem cell, it also causes abnormalities in the myeloid or lymphoid progenitor stem cells. So if the abnormalities can occur in myeloid or lymphoid progenitor stem cells, then the leukemia involves myeloid or lymphoid series. So the cells of the myeloid series may be affected, the cells of the lymphoid series may be affected. Why the cells may be affected? Because the genetic control of normal hematopoiesis is lost due to the genetic lesion in the clone of hematopoietic stem cell. This genetic lesion affects process of differentiation and or maturation of blood cells. It produces a malignant progressive disease, and the disease is of bone marrow and or blood forming organs. Due to this genetic lesion, an increased number of immature and abnormal blood cells they are produced. Due to the increased production of these abnormal cells, there is suppression of the production of normal cells, leading to cytopenias. What are cytopenias? Cytopenias are the decrease in number of the normal blood cells in the peripheral circulation. Due to cytopenia, there may be decrease in the amount of hemoglobin, that is called anemia, leukopenia, that is decrease in number of the white blood cells. And basically, as far as the leukemia is concerned, especially acute leukemia, leukopenia is the term referred for neutropenia, that is there is a decreased number of neutrophils in the peripheral circulation. Thrombocytopenia, decrease in number of the platelets either alone or in various combinations, but ultimately all cytopenias they occur. Because the primary function of the bone marrow is to produce normal cells in adequate quantities and number, due to the infiltration of the bone marrow by these abnormal cells and the production of abnormal cells, the bone marrow fails to produce normal number of normal blood cells. So bone marrow failure occurs. What is the abnormality? The abnormality is a genetic lesion. It can be a translocation, it can be a mutation. These abnormalities can affect two systems, the differentiation system and the system causing control of the proliferative capacity. As far as the differentiation defect is concerned, there may be a block in the differentiation further down. So if a cell is supposed to mature, it may get arrested. The maturation process can get arrested at any stage. It depends upon the genetic lesion. If the block is at an earlier stage, we may see a lot of blast cell or myeloblast cells or lymphoblast cells. If the defect is lower down, then we may see more mature cells, like in chronic leukemias. The other is loss of control of proliferative capacity. The cells mature normally, but their production continues unabated, that they continue to proliferate. There is no negative feedback mechanism. More and more number of mature looking or relatively immature cells are produced. So these are the two basic abnormalities which may cause leukemia. And let us see what are the type of leukemia. The leukemias may be acute leukemias or they may be chronic leukemias. The acute leukemia, the course is very short, exuberant and very rapid. In chronic leukemias, the course is slow and prolonged. In acute leukemia, usually the disease appears and reaches its peak within weeks or few months, and death may result if the patient is not treated. In chronic leukemias, it starts slowly and persists for months and years. The acute leukemia, they may be of two types according to the cell line. If the myeloid cell line is affected, it is called acute myeloid or myeloblastic leukemia, abbreviated as AML. If the lymphoid cell line is affected, it is called acute lymphoblastic leukemia or ALL. Just see the terms myeloid or myeloblastic in AML. This means that in AML of acute leukemia, the cell will be of blast type, myeloblast, which are very, very immature cells. The same case is with the acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Lymphoblastic. Lympho means lymphoid and blastic means lymphoblast, very immature cell. So in acute leukemia, the blast cells or highly immature cells, they appear. They are the abnormal cells because the differentiation and the maturation block has occurred at the myeloblast stage. In chronic leukemias, just see the terminology chronic myelocytic or myeloid leukemia, abbreviated as CML. Just see the term myelocytic. Myelocytic or myelocyte is a cell which in the process of maturation is in between the immature and mature cell. So this leukemia will contain a lot of myelocytes in it. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, in this leukemia the cells will be apparently mature looking cells. So leukemia is of two types, acute leukemia and chronic leukemia. Let us revise acute leukemia, which we have already discussed, in slightly a bit more detail. As we know, there is a defect in the early hematopoietic pathway. Due to this defect, there is accumulation of highly immature cells. The highly immature cells, they are the blast cell, myeloblast in AML and lymphoblast in ALL. Due to the increased production of these abnormal cells, the function of the bone marrow is compromised. Now, the cells are not matured. When the cells are not matured, normal cells are not produced. So there is a paucity of the production of the mature cells. These mature cells, they are very important for the normal functioning of the body. Acute myeloid leukemia may be of different types depending upon the further series. It may be erythroid series, that is involving the red blood cells. It may be granulocytic series involving the neutrophil, the eosinophil or basophil, or it may be monocytic series. It may be megakaryocytic series. Megakaryocyte, as we know, is a cell which is present in the bone marrow, and when it matures, it breaks into fragments to produce platelets. So in acute myeloid leukemia, we may have blast cell of erythroid series, the granulocytic series, the monocytic series, or the megakaryocytic series. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, we will have lymphoblast either of T cell type or B cell type. The effects of leukemia. As we already know that the malignant clone has emerged, and this malignant clone has growth and survival advantage over normal clones. So more and more cells of the abnormal clones, they are produced. Circulating blasts in the blood may increase to very high number, that is, the blood which is circulating in the blood may contain very high number of blast cells. They may be myeloblast or they may be lymphoblast. Pancytopenia occurs as whole of the bone marrow is compromised, so the production of normal cells, it decreases to very low level, and pancytopenia occurs. Pans mean all, cyto means cell, enia mean decrease in number. So all cell lines, they are decreased. Anemia, when the RBCs and hemoglobin, they are decreased, it is termed anemia. Neutropenia, when the neutrophil count becomes very low, it is called neutropenia. And thrombocytopenia, when the platelets are low in number. Anemia, as you know that hemoglobin takes oxygen to all the cells of the body and all the tissue of the body. So if hemoglobin is decreased, that is anemia, then oxygen delivery will be compromised and the patient may feel weakness, lethargy, and he may feel dizziness also. Neutropenia, they fight the infection, and if the neutrophil count is low, then the patient becomes more and more prone to develop infections. Thrombocytopenia, platelets are involved in hemostasis. So when the platelets are low, then spontaneous bleeding may occur. The bleeding may occur in the skin, bleeding may occur from the nose, from the mouth, or from the intestine. But if the bleeding occurs in the brain, intracranial bleed, then it is a very, very serious issue. The abnormal blast cells, they infiltrate body tissues and damage them. They may infiltrate the skin, they may infiltrate the gums, they may infiltrate the liver, they may go into the brain also, and they may damage and destroy them. So there may be a decreased function of these organs which are infiltrated by the abnormal blast cells. If the patient is not treated in time, then due to these problems, the patient may die within few weeks or months. Presentation of acute leukemia. The clinical presentation of acute leukemia results from infiltration of bone marrow and extramedullary sites by blast cells and the release of cytokines by the abnormal blast cells. By extramedullary site, we mean the sites other than the bone marrow. They may be brain, they may be liver, they may be spleen, they may be scrotum, or they may be gums. The patient has got symptoms and signs. The symptoms are the complaint which the patient tells the doctor, and the signs are the features which the doctor finds on examination of the patient. So let us see the symptoms first. Most of the time the symptoms are non-specific. Unexplained weakness without any reason, lethargy, laziness, loss of appetite, and significant weight loss without any reason. There may be spontaneous bleeding. There may be unexplained fever with drenching night sweats which is not responsive to antibiotics. Patient may complain of bone pains, especially of the lower legs, which may be mistaken for some other disease. Now, when the physician examines the patient, he may find certain features: lymphadenopathy, that is the enlargement of lymph nodes in the body; hepatosplenomegaly, enlargement of liver and spleen; And in AML cases, the patient may have swelling of the gums, while in ALL, the male patient, they may have swelling in the scrotum. Let us see how we diagnose acute leukemia in the laboratory. Two types of investigations are done, non-specific and specific. In the non-specific type, we may see high serum uric acid and serum LDH, and that is due to increased turnover of the cells. Pancytopenia or cytopenia in various combinations. For the specific, when we examine a peripheral smear under the microscope, we see the presence of abnormal blast cells. In order to confirm leukemia, we do bone marrow aspiration and trephine biopsy, and in that we usually see an increase in number of blast cells, usually more than 20% of the abnormal blast cells. Number 3, cytochemical stains to differentiate between acute myeloblastic and acute lymphoblastic leukemias and their subtypes. The most commonly used are, for example, myeloperoxidase, Sudan black blue, PAS, and other specific stains. Number 4, immunophenotyping by flow cytometry technique, an expensive technique, not widely available in Pakistan, and it is for the identification and confirmation of the subtypes of leukemia. Number 5th and the last, cytogenetic and molecular studies to see any abnormal chromosomes or mutations. Let us see how the cells of acute leukemia they look. These are the blast cells from acute myeloid leukemia or myeloblastic leukemia. They are large cells, you can see. The cytoplasm is mild to moderate in quantity, and the nucleus is large. The nucleus looks open, that it is slightly dense, and whenever the nucleus is open, it means that the cell is very, very active. So these are the myeloblasts. The myeloblast can be of any type. They may be of erythroid type, they may be of megakaryocyte type, or they may be of granulocytic or monocytic series. This is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. These are also large cells. You can appreciate they usually look like round cells. They have a scanty cytoplasm and they have a big nucleus. The nucleus is occupying nearly the whole of the space of the cell. The nucleus is open, and you can appreciate the nucleus is open in these cells also and in myeloblast cells. So they are the typical cell of the acute leukemia. The slide on the left is acute myeloblastic leukemia showing myeloblast, and the slide on the right is the slide of lymphoblast in acute lymphoblastic leukemia or ALL. Let us classify AML. There are two classifications. One is an old classification called FAB, morphological classification. FAB stands for France, America and Britain. It was produced by their physicians in 1976. The other is the latest classification, which is recurrent genetic abnormalities. Here we will discuss only FAB classification. As I already told you that this classification is based on how the blast cell looks like. For AML, they are of 8 types starting from M0 to M7. It doesn't mean that M0 will progress to M1 or M1 will progress to M2. They are all separate entities. M0, the blast cell with minimal differentiation. M1, a blast cell without maturation. Just note the difference between differentiation and maturation. M2, blast cell with granulocytic differentiation. M3, myeloblast with pro-myelocyte morphology. M4, myelomonocytic leukemia. M5, monoblastic leukemia. M6, erythroleukemia, and M7, acute megakaryocytic leukemia. This is the FAB morphological classification of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and as already told, the acute lymphoblastic leukemia, there are a lot of lymphoblasts in the bone marrow and in the peripheral blood. The lymphoblasts, they are abnormal, and the abnormality is due to a genetic abnormality. There are 3 types, how they look like. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia L1, it may be either T cell or pre-B cell. The lymphoblast, they are small and they are of the same size and shape. So small and homogeneous uniform cells. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia L2, It may be either T cell or pre-B cell. The cells, the lymphoblasts, they are large and of different shapes and sizes. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, L3, it's a B cell. The cells are large and varied with vacuoles. Vacuoles are hollow-shaped things in the cytoplasm. So we have got three types of acute lymphoblastic leukemia according to FAB morphological classification: L1, L2 and L3. A brief review about chronic leukemias. The basic defect is a genetic defect. It may be of proliferative and a defect in the apoptosis of the cells. Apoptosis is a mechanism of programmed cell death. Each cell has a definite lifespan, and when there is defect, the life of the cell may become prolonged. So this is called apoptosis. So there is a defect in the proliferative and apoptotic mechanisms of the affected clone. Due to this, there is uncontrolled production and proliferation of more mature blood cells, a high increase in the number of mature white cells in the peripheral blood. They may be of granulocytic series or they may be of lymphocytic series. If they are of granulocytic series, then the viscosity or thickness of the blood may increase to very high, abnormal and sometimes dangerous levels. With time, more and more genetic mutation occur in the abnormal clones. These patients, they may live for many years without any treatment, but they have a tendency to transform into acute leukemia because in addition they get more and more genetic mutation over a period of time. Types of chronic leukemias. Basically, there are two types: CML, also known as chronic myelogenous leukemia, or chronic myelocytic leukemia, or chronic myeloid leukemia. The other one is CLL, also known as chronic lymphocytic leukemia or chronic lymphoid leukemia. CML or chronic myelocytic leukemia, also known as myelogenous leukemia, also known as chronic myeloid leukemia. It is a myeloproliferative disorder. Defect is in the hematopoietic progenitor stem cell. It usually occurs in the 5th or 6th decade of life but can occur at any age. The abnormality is there is rearrangement of the long arm of chromosome 22 by a balanced translocation between chromosome 9 and 22, resulting in an abnormal fusion oncogene which is called BCR-ABL. This 22 number chromosome is also called or is also known as Philadelphia chromosome. The fusion gene is abnormal and codes for a highly abnormal active tyrosine kinase enzyme. This enzyme has a high proliferative and anti-apoptotic properties for the granulocytes. High number of morphologically and functionally normal granulocytes are produced, and predominantly the blood comprises of neutrophils and myelocytes. So there are both mature and immature granulocytes in the peripheral blood. Diagnosis is made on peripheral smear and identification of the Philadelphia chromosome bearing BCR-ABL abnormal gene. In this slide there are two photographs. On the left side is the karyotype, that is 23 pairs of chromosomes in a human being. Just note down the pair number 9 and 22nd. They are encircled by a red circle. On the right side is the balanced translocation between the chromosome 9 and 22, and the abnormal chromosome is chromosome number 22, which is also called Philadelphia chromosome, and the new fusion gene due to balanced translocation which has been produced is called BCR-ABL. Let us see the phases of CML in the clinical course of the disease. It has got three phases: chronic phase or the first phase, accelerated phase or the second phase, and the blast crisis phase. The first is the chronic phase, in which most of the patients they present. It is also called latent phase. Usually most of the patients they are asymptomatic or without any symptom of the disease. This phase has a bimodal peak of both mature and immature granulocytes. The granulocytes are very high in number in the blood. Their count can be between 50 and 100 into 10 to the power 9 per liter, but they can be as high as 500. They have got both mature and immature granulocytes. The mature granulocytes, they are the neutrophil and the band form, and the immature, they are the myelocytes and the metamyelocytes. Myeloblasts can be present, but they are very few number, in most of the cases less than 3%. The other phase is accelerated phase. Now the chronic phase has become more speedy and active and has entered into a phase called accelerated phase, because over a period of time it has acquired additional genetic abnormalities. Now more highly immature cells, they start appearing in the bone marrow and the peripheral circulation, and these highly immature cells, they are myeloblasts. So the percentage of the myeloblasts, they start increasing both in the bone marrow and in the peripheral blood. The third or the last phase is blast crisis phase with additional further genetic abnormalities. Now the leukemia becomes very aggressive, it becomes very mature, and now the majority of cells, they are myeloblasts, and now it has transformed into acute leukemia. These phases are seen if the patient is not treated. If the patient is treated, then the patient may not go or enter into the second or the third phase. This is a photograph seen under the microscope of the blood of a patient with CML. You can appreciate there are many types of cells. Most of the cells, they look like myelocytes. There are mature neutrophil also, there are metamyelocytes also, and they are band form also. So it has got bimodal peak. Bimodal peak means that two peaks are there. One is the mature and the other is immature granulocytes. Now let us briefly discuss chronic lymphocytic leukemia, also known as chronic lymphoid leukemia and abbreviated as CLL. The median age of presentation is 70 years. Most of the patients, they don't have any complaints or symptoms, but they are only diagnosed on a routine CBC done for other reasons. There is unlimited accumulation of apparently mature looking lymphocytes in the bone marrow, peripheral blood and lymphoid organs. It is a clonal disorder. The accumulated lymphocytes are monoclonal. There is failure of apoptosis, that is defect in the programmed cell death due to a genetic abnormality. Usually it is asymptomatic and patient may live for many years without any treatment. But over a period of time, it may transform into an aggressive disease like acute leukemia. Peripheral blood shows absolute lymphocytosis and count is between 10 and 500 into 10 to the power 9 per liter. Now how CML and CLL looks under the microscope. This is CML. You can see two types of cells, the bluish cells and the pinkish or red cells. The pinkish cells, they are the red blood cells, and the bluish cells, they are the white blood cells. The white blood cells, they are numbered. For example, just have a look at number 2. There are 4 number 2 cells in this photograph. They are myelocytes. Number 1 is promyelocyte, and around you can see metamyelocyte, band form and mature neutrophil also. This is CLL or chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Just appreciate that it has a lot of lymphocytes. All the lymphocytes, they are looking as if they are mature and as if they are normal. Now we have finished the lecture and I hope that you have got some benefit from it. If you have any queries or questions, please don't hesitate to contact me or ask me. Inshallah, we will see you in a few days or weeks, all fine and healthy. Thanks again. Assalamu alaikum.